Peter, thanks for joining us. A busy midweek schedule for you, I know, so thanks for taking the time. First of all, let's look back at Saturday's game against Dennismuir. You said after the match there you were pleased with the performance and the result and ultimately qualification to the last 16. So a good weekend overall?
Yeah, I was delighted with a big percentage, if I said, at the weekend, about 80% we were happy with. We're obviously disappointed with a couple of chances we gave up, and obviously the goal at that period. I thought we were a bit scrappy in that period in the game. So apart from that, as I say, I've been delighted with the attitude. I think the boys thoroughly deserved it. I thought they showed great respect to Stenhousemuir, that we were kept pressing late in the game to try and win more and score more goals. I think God Stenhousemuir that respect to do that. So that's great credit to the players. I think they showed that hunger. And the pleasing thing was as well, when the boys come on the pitch, they kept the standard up. I think that was important. And I think that's what I've tried to say, that when we look round and bring people on, that they keep the standard of the quality of the play up. And I think they've done that. And we've seen glimpses of Kai, which was excellent. So get a wee bit more game time in his legs. I think that's important. So there was a lot of positives, So we're delighted to be through, and obviously in the next round, that's so important, of course. But the big thing is now that the league programming, that's something we're preparing for this week, and we're really looking forward to the start of a very, very tough venue, as it always is going to Greenock. It's always tough, and Gus's teams will always make it tough for you. So we have to be well prepared, ready to do that.
You discussed after the game with us how you felt the start of the season was positive, and the reward to that was getting the last 16 draw away to Rangers at Ibrox. Do you feel it is that little bit reward for everybody at the club for the positive beginnings?
Well, it becomes a reward if you win it. That's what we're into to try and do, not to get to the next round of the last 16. As I said right from the start, you try and win the competitions if you're in them. I'm delighted we've got through a tough group. It's funny when you're a seeded team, but you ended up playing the first two games away against the two teams, one in your division and one in the Premiership. So it couldn't have been any harder that way. With New Dumbarton, it was a bit unfortunate for them that they lost a few players, but they still probably their first 12 players available. But after that, they never had many substitutes. Stenhousemuir, I think they've recruited very well. So I thought we had a tough section, and we've come out it well. As I say, things we're disappointed with. But we've earned that. I think the players earned that. They've scored the goals. We've been disappointed with the few goals we've conceded, of course. But as I say, that's the rewards to get into the next round. But we want to go further than that. That's football. That's the challenges it's always through down to you. We're getting a preparation now. The cup gets put in the back burner. We're ready to look at Morton. That's the only game that concerns us, nothing else. Everybody else can talk about whatever they want. We'll have no interest in it. That's the next game. So the most important thing for us is Morton, and we know that's going to be I watched them last week, and we're very unfortunate to get an equaliser against them late on against Kilmarnock. And as I say, they lost in penalties. But I know how tough a game it's going to be, because they proved that went to Rugby Park, and as I say, we're very, very unfortunate not to win the game. So I'm well aware of how difficult the game's going to be, but I'm always in our players' favour. I know I've got good players that can win matches, and I think that's so important. We go every place we go, every place we turn up, we'll be going there to try and win, and that's what we're trying to do every time we put on the jersey.
Since the last time you spoke to us midweek, you've managed to recruit 4 players. You did say if you were able to get that little bit extra time just to wait on them signing on the dotted line, everybody at the club would be pretty pleased with the quality that you've brought in, and I'm sure that you're pretty pleased as well that you've managed to get those deals over the line.
Yeah, I'm delighted. It's been an ongoing saga, but you think sometimes you're hitting the crossbar, you're hitting the post, and you think, is it ever going to happen? I'd spoken to Graham maybe 2 months ago now, just as soon as I got the job, and asked him if he was interested, if he was coming back. He said yes, he would be interested. I said, but listen, I want you to make the right decision. I don't want you to jump into anything. I know you maybe have other opportunities, which he did have. He went and spoke, and he's trained at a few of the clubs, and he got offers for these clubs. But I knew in my mind he kept me aware of what was happening. It was just getting to keep his fitness up. And obviously a big choice for him, because if you're not back Premier League, to drop down a division when you're at this stage in your career, it's a big call. It's a big call, because you want to play at the biggest parties, And as I say, I think maybe what he's seen over the last few weeks is what we're trying to do, and what our aim is to try and win the league. That's what our aim is. And I think, trying to sell that to Graham. But I gave him space after I'd spoken to him, after I gave him an offer, and I gave him the space to make his mind up, because it's not an easy decision. First, to try and get his sell back from Australia, and then obviously there are a few clubs to talk to and speak to, you know, so I have no problem with that. But I was always comfortable in myself that he'd make the right decision, and that right decision would be coming to us. And I think it's good for us because we've got a lot of young players. I think Graham's experience, where he plays in the pitch, and his knowledge of the position. And I've known Graham since we taken him down to West Brom, since for Livingston. So I've known him a long, long time. And I know what he brings to the party. And it's something slightly different to what we already have. And the other boys we've got in, as I say, I think they've given us a completely different mix. You know, you look at Kai, you look at Reece, then you look at Big Reece as well also, you know. So I watched him closely last year with Queen of the South. As soon as I knew he was coming back from America, I felt that was an opportunity for us. And then there was an even better opportunity, with a chance to get him in as our player. And I think that's so important, you know, because he's our player, he's not on loan. And 6'3" left-sided centre-backs, they're not easy to come by, you know. So I'm delighted with that one too. Kai, I think you've seen glimpses of on Saturday. And the same with Reece, you've seen glimpses of what they can do once they've got the game legs in. Because you've got to remember, a lot of these boys have not had a lot of games, you know. So I think that's important to remember that. It's just a pity they weren't at the start of pre-season, but unfortunately circumstances dictated that. But now we've got them in, and that's why the training ground is so competitive now. You can see it with the group we've got, and I've said that from day one, that should be the most competitive place for us as a training ground, because you've got quality against quality. And I think you can see that with the quality we've brought in against the quality we already have here. You can see the standard in the training ground is very high. So delighted with them, delighted with the full group.
You've said since you came in that you were looking for 2 players per position, ideally. I think I'm right in saying if you exclude Fraser Currid, who's out on loan, that's 25 players you've got signed up. So is that you pretty much done and dusted in the transfer market now then?
Yeah, I would say I'm not openly looking for anything else at this moment in time. But as I say, if I thought someone would come in and make it better for us, of course, I'd be willing to look at that. God willing, we don't pick up any injuries. I think that's the thing you've always got to be aware of. Sometimes you think you've cracked it, and all of a sudden something comes out of the blue, and you think, oh, how did that happen? And you weren't prepared for that. So we'll always prepare, and we'll always be looking around and about to see what's available up until the window closes. But as I say, I'm not actively looking in that respect to bring any more in. I'm comfortable, very comfortable with the group of boys we have. The boys that were here, never mind the ones that's come in, the boys that have been here have been excellent. I've been really, really pleased with them, their attitude and their quality, you know. So as I say, it's a great combination in the respect of that. And that makes your life easier as a manager. The only thing that makes it a bit more difficult is selecting the team on a Saturday. And that's what you want as a manager. You want the most difficult opportunities is to try and pick that correct team for that Saturday. And I think that's so important now we're getting there, that I know, even if they don't start in the game, I look round over my shoulder that I'm capable of putting any of them on, and they're more than capable of performing and keeping the quality of the squad up and the game up and the team up. So that's so important for us.
In terms of team news for Saturday, Paul Watson missed out completely on Saturday against Dennismuir. Is he available this weekend? And of course, Reece Cole and Craig Whiten came off as well. Are they both okay?
Well, the boys trained today, done a little bit today, so we'll see how they are over the next couple of days. I think that's important. But as I say, we'll give them as long as we can. As I say, I always wanted to get into the last game. As I say, the first game, everybody fully fit. So we'll probably know more of that on Thursday. I'm more hopeful for 2 out of 3, but as I say, hopefully they'll all be available. So God willing, that'll be the case. And as I say, the way they've worked, I take anybody to miss out through an injury, you know, in the respect of that, because I worked so hard during the pre-season. So I'd be disappointed for them to miss it that way. But as I say, I'm hoping I've got the hardest job in that selecting the correct team for, as I say, for a very, very difficult fixture.
And just in terms of some of the other players that have been missing as well, Lewis McCann, did his operation go okay? And Ryan Dowie and Wilson, are they still on the road to recovery?
Yes, Ryan's been in the passing drills the last couple of days, which is fantastic to see, and the boys were delighted to see him. As I say, he's like a new signing to us as well. Ian's probably a couple of weeks away. In respect of that, young Lewis, we're delighted the way he's going, so he's probably maybe a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks away as well, but all going in the right direction, which is so important. So great credit to the medical staff, because they've worked extremely hard with the boys to get them out on the pitches. So we're delighted at the way they're going, and as I say, that's great credit to the medical staff for that, you know. So we can only take care of them on the football, but they can't get passed on to us to, as I said, to get that opportunity. So it was fantastic to see some of them on the training pitch today doing their wee bits and bobs. For us, it gets them out of a gymnasium as well, which seems like a prison cell sometimes to these boys because they've been in it so long. So to get them back out on the training pitch again is fantastic news for us and for them.
In terms of Saturday's game against Morton, as you said, it's kind of the bread and butter now, going into the league campaign, and you just want to build on the momentum from the Premier Sports Cup campaign and really start the season off the way you want to go ahead.
It's always important, and it's great because that's your next game. You know, people are not looking to say, oh, when the league programme starts and whatever, going through the cup competition, and I'm using the cup competition for the league and whatever. We've always used every game, and I think people will see that the way we've tried to get about our business in every game. We've taken it with all seriousness and tried to do every game, and as I say, make sure people get the right minutes, but I've earned them, you know, so they've all earned them, and that's why I've been able to do that, because everyone has trained so hard. But we know that the holy grail for us is to try and win the league, you know. So the first opportunity and the first hurdle of that is Morton, which is a big hurdle. It's always difficult going, as I said, going down to Greenock. You know, Gus's teams fight and scratch for everything, you know that. So we're well prepared. We have to be well prepared for that, because as I say, it's what you do against the ball is important. As you're on the ball, we know we've got quality, but you've got to get that ball first. So we understand that. We know it'll be a very tough game, but listen, I turn up to every place expecting to, or not expecting, trying to win every game, you know, and that's what we're going to try and do. We'll go there, and that's what we're going to do and prepare to win the match. That's what you're preparing to do, is win the match. Respect opposition, but we're preparing to win the match. That's what we're trying to do.
Great to speak to you. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.